remember what happened. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Diversity is Lit Book Club. Super excited to have you here. Today, we will be discussing Yellowface by R.F. Kuang or Rebecca F. Kuang. I read the audiobook, but spoiler, enjoyed the book. So then I got a physical copy because I was like, shoot, the one time I'm like, I'll just get the audiobook. Then I'm like, no, I really like this book. So anyways, had to get a copy. So if you don't know us, we are Diversity is Lit. We read one book by a BIPOC author every month and discuss it on my channel like we're doing today. We have one co-host who will be here in a couple minutes and then another one that isn't able to make it, but I'll have my lovely co-hosts introduce themselves, and everyone is linked down below. If you don't know me, my name is Holly. I'm the author of A Diamond Bright and Broken. The cover reveal was 6 days ago, so hasn't even been a week. And it's available for pre-order right now on any platform you choose: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, bookshop.org. And if you pre-order and input the receipt at inimitablebooks.com, which is linked down below, you can get character art as part of the pre-order campaign. It's not right now, but like when the book comes out, you'll get exclusive character art. So check that out.
Yay! Hey. Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Beasley. I write under the pen name T.A. Beasley. I'm a young adult and adult thriller author, and I am excited to talk about the book.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather Venkat. I am Holly's twin, and I do not have a book coming out, but I'm currently on a writing hiatus, but I'm still active in the reading community right now.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, we love that. So if you don't know how our book discussions work, we are going to chat and just talk about the book. Feel free to pop in your own answers and opinions in the comments as well. If you're watching the replay, feel free to do that too. We will be talking spoilers, so if you haven't read the book and you're okay with spoilers, keep watching. If you don't want to get spoiled on what's going to happen, go read the book and then come back and watch this discussion. Here is our other lovely co-host, Vanessa.
Yay!
Also wearing yellow, yay!
Okay, now I feel bad.
No, you're fine.
No, you're fine.
This is the only yellow shirt I have. I got rid of my other ones. And Teresa's like, I don't have any yellow shirts. So I was like, Vanessa, we just got done introducing ourselves. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Vanessa. Go by Vanessa Marie online. I'm a fantasy, paranormal, and horror writer, book publisher, and diversity reader. Yeah, that's pretty much
it. That's all. Just, rattling it.
That's all.
All those things. I can barely keep my reader life in together right now.
Yeah, I'm very behind in my Goodreads goal. So I'll just have to read a whole bunch of picture books at the end, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So we gave our spoiler warning. This book does have trigger content warnings. I was excited because I found one that wasn't in the book. I was like, oh, this wasn't in the list, and I came up with it. Usually I miss it, but so the trigger and content warnings are death on page, choking on page, death of a parent recounted, suicide mention / suicidal thoughts, the C slur, sexual assault, theft, blackmail, racism, cyberbullying, gaslighting, mental health issues, panic attacks / panic disorder, cultural appropriation, and then I came up with homicidal ideations. Was surprised that wasn't in there. Anyways, so yeah, that's all. And we were talking like just before this that we read this book so quickly at the beginning of the month, so we're like, oh my goodness, we have to remember everything that we read.
Yeah.
Because I read the audiobook, like I was able to fly through it, and like it was just exactly what I needed. So I guess we'll kind of go into the first question, which is, what is your general overall thoughts and opinions on the book, and what would you rate it on Goodreads or Book Hype? Book Hype is another kind of Goodreads type website that exists. But so I like flew through the audiobook because I was like, oh, this like reminds me of The Other Black Girl, which we read 2 years ago, I think. And so it was kind of just that, like, in that similar vein. And I really liked just getting that like author and publisher aspect of the book, because like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I totally understand all of this, but like to an everyday reader, it would all be new to them, hearing about querying and like the discrepancies between author advances and like marketing and promo and everything. So I just thought it was really fascinating to read it from a fiction perspective, and just the whole kind of like underlying mystery of it all, and like the what's gonna happen, like what is gonna happen to June. And I also enjoyed it because it wasn't so much that she was an unreliable narrator, but she was just like someone that I like hated. And it was weird because usually when you hate like a main character, you don't want to keep reading about them. But with her, it was like she was so flawed that it was just like, what are you gonna do now? So it kept me on the edge of my seat. So anyway, so that's why I had to buy a physical copy, because I enjoyed it so much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, because I thought there were a lot of good messages in here that I know we're going to talk about, and I know we're going to have a juicy discussion about it. But I just thought that this book was really important, and I hadn't read anything like it. So, yeah.
I actually liked it too. I know some people didn't, but I enjoyed it. Now, I did go into it thinking it was going to be something different than how it played out. I thought, when she stowed the novel, that secretly she was going to be still alive, like she didn't die from the choking, and that she was still alive and she was going to come back, especially when she started getting like the messages and stuff, like the texting and all that stuff. I was like, yes, she's not really dead and she's going to come back and they're going to have it out. But it didn't turn out that way. I was like, man, dang it. So I did go into it a little bit different because I didn't read the synopsis. I knew it was about publishing. But when I first started it, I thought, okay, this is just going to be like a bitch fest about the publishing industry. And I'm just not for that. I'm just not into that right now. But then as I kept going, I was like, okay, she did do a foul thing. And like you said, she was a foul character. But you know what? The other chick was too. Mm-hmm. I don't think they were both. I mean, what was her name? Athena?
Uh-huh.
They both was jacked up. I mean, you could dislike both of them because I understand a little bit of where June was coming from, but Athena wasn't all innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of get why she did steal her novel. But overall, I gave it a 4-star. I thought it was interesting once I got to going and I realized, okay, this is not going to just be a bitch fest about the publishing industry. There's a little bit more underlining things going on in this book, especially when I got to the end. I was like, oh, okay, all righty. Yeah, I do really like this book. But yeah, overall, I gave it a 4-star. I enjoyed it. After I read it, I did go back and listen to some of the videos that were talking about the book, and I know we'll get into that a little bit more. But my overall thoughts is that I thought it was a good book.
Nice.
Next.
Do you want to
go? Sure, I can go. I also really enjoyed it. I listened to the audiobook, which I felt like was really well done. The narrator, there's a lot of like kind of like snarky conversations, and just like I felt like there were a lot of times where the main character June would say something, and like she would say it in like a completely normal term, like just because she's just so blatantly oblivious to the fact that she's being racist. But if you read it, like I felt like I would have gotten a different sense, but when you listen to it, you're like, she's clueless. She has no idea. Like she's just wrong, and someone needs to like tell her all of these things. So I felt like kind of listening to how things were said was also really important. And I really liked this book, how Rebecca used it. Like, I feel like she used it as a platform to bring to light certain issues with the publishing industry, with diversity in books, and also some other things. Like I think one of the reasons why I did give it a 5 out of 5. One of the reasons why I had rated it so high was that she did kind of flip things on its head, and basically like not make you hate Athena, but also make you be like, okay, she's not, like Teresa was saying, like she's not like perfect either. And at first I thought, okay, like that person's gonna be on the pedestal, and then June is gonna be the villain, quote unquote. But it almost gives this like tug to try to tell the reader, hey, like you could kind of like justify some of the reasons why June acted the way she did because of XYZ. So then I felt like it was her way of making you not completely hate June, but sort of understand, like, quote unquote, understand why she was making some of the decisions she was. Obviously they were wrong, but just that like kind of moral and ethical swirl that she threw in there, I loved how complicated that was. And I listened to it really, really quickly. There's a lot more that we'll get to.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Well, I guess I wanted to go last because I am going to be the odd one out here.
Uh-oh.
I really didn't care for this. I was just like, okay, whatever. I honestly, I wish we could have done a different book by this author, because I heard a lot about Babel, and I've been interested in Babel, so I would have been interested in that. And I think part of this might just be me being in a reading slump and like not really wanting to pick up any books. And when I'm in a slump, the last book that I want to pick up is a book like this. Contemporary that's so realistic. Like, I want my fantasy, I want my adventure, and things I can escape to when I'm in a reading slump. Usually contemporary is one of the last genres I reach for. And so in a slump, it makes it even worse. And so I was just like, when is this gonna be done? And it's a short book, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, this is good. Are we almost done yet? Like, can we get there? I of course, you guys know I usually do both the audio and physical, which I did start doing that with this one. I was doing the audio and physical both. And I got like halfway through doing that, and then I just ran out of time and just finished up with the audio this morning. Ready for them. And so, to me, the one thing in here that kind of did pique my interest just a little bit was her seeing Athena at the event the first time. And so I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. Where are we going with this? And I was hoping to have more of that in here and to see more of that, psychological breakdown throughout the novel instead of just kind of at the end. I was hoping to see, like, her seeing more glimpses of Athena around town and wondering, am I going crazy? Is she not dead? Is this her ghost? Does she have a twin out there that I don't know? Like all this.
Yeah, that's.
I thought, we would get that more throughout the novel, and I think I would have been a lot more interested if we did. But we didn't, and it just ended up being, online trolling, book community, book tea, Twitter, stupid stuff that we all in the book community online. You already know how it is, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
So, I do agree that she brings up some important topics in the book to discuss in terms of publishing and who can publish what stories can you tell, and all of that, and also being pigeonholed into one type of story when you're a marginalized author in Trad Pub. So I do appreciate that those topics she brought up. But other than that, for the most part, I was just like so ready to be done with.
I'm like you. I thought it was going to be more of her going stir crazy and feeling guilty about what she did, and that Athena was going to keep showing up to her, and like maybe Athena wasn't dead, and she was like just trying to make her go crazy because of her stealing the book. But I was disappointed about that too, Vanessa, because I thought it was going to be a little bit more of that as well, and that it was going to be her either not really being dead and coming back, or but it didn't play out that way. I mean, the reveal was cool because I didn't expect that person to be doing that, but it would have been better if it was actually Athena doing this stuff.
I mean, I thought it was like with everything that happened with Candace in the beginning, I felt like it was obvious she was setting her up to be the reveal. The only thing that made me question was because when she first thinks she saw Athena's ghost, she was so sure that the person looked just like Athena, and Candace nothing like Athena. So that's why I was like, okay, how are you confusing her for Athena right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that made me wonder. But I mean, if it weren't for that, like, I kind of see, I saw like where the whole beginning with them going back and forth, her being so resistant to getting a sensitivity reader, and then
Mhm.
Candace doing what she did, and then her being fired from that. So I was like,
Mhm.
I think like it made sense that it was her, but I kind of like forgot about her
Yeah.
because she was pushing like this like Athena ghost,
Mhm.
you know, throughout. I think it would have been cool if there was a little bit more in it too, but I like how she kind of subverted it, like, oh, who's behind this Instagram? Oh, it's the boyfriend, you know, or the letters or something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And with the like her thinking that it was Athena at first, I was like, well, it could be one or two ways. It could be someone who just really looks like Athena and she's just so like paranoid and her guilt is just eating her up that she like thinks that it's her, or like it's someone who completely doesn't look like her, or there's not even anyone there and she's having these visual hallucinations, which I'm sure Teresa has experienced, but
Yeah.
from working in the hospital, there has been
Yes.
many a time where, you know, like a couple weeks ago, I'd had a patient stomping on the ground saying there were cockroaches and nothing was there. And, you know, patients say,
Yeah.
like, I'm asking them, like, oh, how many stairs do you have at home? Oh, I'm not sure. They're right over there. That's a wall, you know. So,
No.
so you can very
Yeah.
much, and so like I thought that was really interesting to add those in. I didn't even think about the twin aspect of it, but I was just very I was just like, it was so definite with how she died, how she choked and she saw her and she was dead and they came in like that. I was just like, she couldn't have just like, haha, like the smoke and mirrors. Like, so I
yeah,
really didn't believe that she was alive. There were so many other, like, I was like, it's got to be someone else, like, behind it, or it's more of just these like visual hallucinations. So,
I thought
um,
it was maybe like hallucinations and she's going crazy, which is
mhm,
Yeah.
why I wanted to see more of that
right.
throughout the story. But then we didn't really see much other instances of her, you know, losing it or whatever until the very end when we get the
Mhm.
reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, that part that was difficult. Just because like it almost felt like it was like bam, you know, like just a huge chunk at the end. But I think she did that for a reason. Like I think she just wanted the huge punch. Like,
And
but
yeah, and I think there's, you know, because as writers, we have that like what if, and there's a couple what ifs that the reader will expect that you give them, and then there's a couple what
Mhm.
ifs that you subvert it. Oh, you think this is going to happen at the end, but really this. So, you know, I think that's just what, you know, Rebecca picked and chose her what ifs. So,
honestly,
True.
like the biggest what if is she going to admit that she took the
Yes.
idea? And
yes.
she was given
Yes.
so many opportunities, and I was like, just
So
do it now.
many.
You're not and then like even when she was like way far gone, I'm like, you could still like admit it, and like, you know, and then she just kept digging herself deeper and deeper and deeper
Deeper
and
and
deeper.
deeper.
Yeah, you're working on another book, you're taking the first line of
Mhm.
the other book, and then you get caught, and then the PR team's trying to cover up for you. Like, it was a
Mhm.
whole mess. And
I kind of, yeah, I kind of wanted um, Athena's mom to actually go look at Athena's stuff and realize that it was.
That's what I thought she was gonna do.
I know.
I was like, there's a
Well,
reason why she's telling you not to release the notebooks. Why don't you just go read them? And then you'll see why she doesn't want you to release the notebooks.
Mhm.
But her mom didn't read them.
I know.
I think because she kind of was just like, no, you should keep them, and kind of being like, you could read them if you want to, even though she really didn't want her to.
Her to read them.
Right.
Which
But
I
then
thought that
even
was
when it's like,
ballsy.
clearly there's, everything in the news about like all this is coming, to the surface, and then she's still not looking into it.
Right. And she was like, I don't care about all that. I'm like, what do you mean you don't care about it? Really? You don't care? What? It's your daughter. They're actually telling you that this woman has did something to your daughter, and you don't want to look into that? What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Because as a parent, I would have been like, okay, let me get these notebooks out. Let's go through them. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to read them, and I'm going to figure this out.
Yes.
But she didn't do none of that. I'm like, really? Come on.
Yeah.
She could have been like, hey, this can be like published in, I don't know, like, not in retrospect, but like it could, like maybe she has a completed manuscript in there that could be published, and
like, even like, because I know they she talks about the mom's grief, and it was hard for her to want to go through her stuff and everything like that. And I was like, okay, but even then, if people are telling you that she did something with your daughter's work, even if you don't want to go through them, but at least have a family member go through.
Just to double check,
Right.
Yeah, I didn't understand why she didn't do that. And I mean, even her boyfriend, like the ex-boyfriend, didn't he say that she had let him read it, so he knew that June was lying?
Yeah.
I mean, why did he tell the mama that?
Yeah, he could have.
Yeah, he could have been like, he could have went to the mom and told the mom to look into it, but he was too busy trying to blackmail June. That was hilarious. I'm sorry, that was funny. That was a funny part of the book when he tried to blackmail her. I'm like, oh, okay, dude.
He really wasn't a smart one.
I know. It was just.
I was like,
it was just like very interesting to see like her interactions with like other people too. Like you kind of get the sense it's like even her like friendship, quote unquote, with Athena, like they were kind of friends, but not really. And so it was just like she, I feel like she was telling of the fact that she wasn't deep down a good person, because like, she was not like, even though she wasn't popular as an author or anything like that, like that doesn't mean anything, because it's all like, as she was saying in the like bringing up in the story, it's like, oh, not everyone gets author interviews, not everyone gets all of these book tours and the like signings and all of this stuff to kind of promote someone's book. Like I feel like she I don't know, just her interactions with the ex-boyfriend and her interactions with like everyone on her like publishing team. It was just like, you're just a horrible person.
I want to say really quick, Jennifer had popped in. So hello.
Jennifer. Hi.
And You Are Here Diversity popped in. So
hi.
Feel free to chat along too with your thoughts on the book if you read it.
Yeah, June was a horrible person, but Athena too, though. Athena basically took like something traumatic that happened to her, made a story out of it. After she really wanted her to just like forget about it, and she was like, "I'm not gonna report it or do anything about it." And then Athena made a story about it, which I think is the reason why she took the first line of the second when she started writing the second book. I think that's why she took that part out of that first line out of that book and started to write the newer book.
Mhm.
But I mean, because I don't know, she was just trying to get back at Athena, because Athena did some wrong stuff to her too. But I will say the whole incident where Athena dies and the choking, June could have did a little bit more, but she didn't.
Yeah.
She could have did a lot more to help Athena, but she did
It was
not.
like second-degree murder, like,
Yes,
essentially.
and then you waited a little bit before you even called to get help. So I'm like, yeah, June, you're not a good person, because you could have did a lot more.
Trying to get story ideas from the kids, like the I don't know if it was like that camp or whatever.
Oh, the
thing that
mentorship,
she's on.
yeah, right.
The internship thingy. She's like jealous of her like mentee, and I'm like, it's like, and then the kids were like kind of onto her. They're like, oh, we don't really want to. It's like, oh, why do we have to have this like written down, or I forget exactly like
yeah
what it was.
Sketchy.
It was just so sketchy.
And then she fired her as her mentor. She's like, this is gonna work out. I'm like, yeah, June, people are picking up on you. You know. I mean, and the ex-boyfriend kind of knew how Athena was, but June was a little bit much in this book. Really should be ashamed of herself.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially like
decision.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, yeah, like how she acted at like the Chinese American Social Club, and then they found out that Juniper Song was not Asian American, and then it was like totally awkward the whole time, and she's talking about the food and then feeling bad because of I think it was like a blind man who was like thanking her, and it was just like, this is so awkward. Like, and so it's like she knew that like she had those feelings of just like, oh, like they were why, like, June, why would you think they're expecting you to be Asian? So it was it was seeing those things, and then at the museum trying to like interview people like Athena did, and so then that brings a point, like, was Athena right in doing that?
Right.
So
I mean, I think it depends on how you go about it, because I don't think there's anything wrong with interviewing people that you're interested in their view and stuff, but to take basically word for word what they're saying and put it into a book like what Athena was doing. That's why like, it's okay to interview and get inspiration, but like make it into your own. Don't just verbatim, unless you can accredit them in the book. Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and like, June was saying, I did hours and hours of research, and like, I think Rebecca brought up, that part of the publishing industry, how, a lot of people will try to publish something that they shouldn't be publishing. They feel like they're entitled to because they kind of have this knowledge of it, but that's not their background. That's not their kind of right to like tell that story. And throughout the book, like she's sort of justifying why it was okay, or saying, well, I'm kind of honoring her, and really it's like a whole different story now, and it wasn't even that good before, like I changed so much, and it's like, no, but and it is a real problem. And I think there was kind of this balance, because I think Rebecca wanted to show how powerful keyboard warriors can be in defaming people, in attacking them. She was talking about getting death threats and all this stuff. And it's like, well, yes, that is a problem in the publishing industry not saying that June didn't like deserve the attacks, but also like that is a problem in and of itself in other ways. And I feel like Rebecca was at least like kind of trying to say, hey, there's some issues in the publishing industry, like it's not all perfect, regardless of whether or not, you know, people, or like regardless of whether or not like these reasons are justified. But like, you know, I thought it was, I just feel like it was interesting how she brought it up in this way. Because you're sort of like, you kind of cringe when you're like, oh my gosh, someone's being cyberbullied. Well, yeah, but this person kind of deserved it.
Yeah.
But cyberbullying itself is not good. And so like that, like I kind of felt conflicted a little bit when I was reading some of those scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, she deserved to be called out, but like not in that way. Like, you know, with cancel culture, it's like, okay, well, she needs her books off the shelves and like, you know, that you can't buy it, or, you know, taken down, and like all these other, or like her advance taken back from her, she was spending all this money, you know, the movie deal and stuff. It's like, no, like take everything away from her that wasn't really hers. Like she doesn't deserve death threats, but she deserves to not make money off of Athena's
Off of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, the movies. Yeah, they're like, what actors do you want? And like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
I think they're all going to choose like white actors,
like
and
Tom.
actors.
Oh, we should get Tom Holland or Benedict Cumberbatch to broaden the audience. Oh, but I guess we should have a Chinese actor, but like Hera.
Oh my God.
I was like, excuse me. And then the Chinese, I think she was Chinese, who was like part of the team. Like she wasn't even there at the meeting. It was just like two white guys. And she was like, oh, I thought it was her who was interested in like making this a movie. So and then like June just gives them do whatever needs to be done, you know. And that's why it was so easy. Like the editor at the beginning was saying like, oh, it's so easy for you to kill your darlings, like, you know, most authors are, you know, give a little bit of pushback, and it's like, yeah, because these aren't yours to kill.
Kill, right.
Yeah, so oh my gosh, like there were these two quotes at the beginning where I was just like, oh my gosh, Athena, where she's like, I do think we've made the book better, more accessible, more streamlined. The new version is a universally relatable story, a story that anyone can see themselves in.
God.
And I was like, okay, well, not everyone is supposed to see themselves in this.
See themselves in it.
A story about the Chinese laborers. And then and then when she was like, oh, I'm not lying, I'm stretching reality just a bit. I'm the grieving friend, haunted by her spirit, unable to write without invoking her voice. See, whoever said I wasn't a good storyteller. Oh,
oh gosh, I'm losing my train of thought. And now I forgot what I was.
Oh, I was talking about the like. We're making it more streamlined. Anyone can see themselves in this book.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know if that was gonna jolt anything.
a little bit. Because this is why I say when it comes to the whole, is this your story to tell, who's allowed to tell, what stories, whatever. I go back to one, there's a difference between writing diverse characters and writing an own voices type of story.
Yep.
And if you are trying to write someone else's experience and that is not your experience, I always stop to ask why. Like, why are you interested in telling this story? Why are you interested in telling an experience that's not yours, especially when it's a suffering kind of sad experience that a lot of marginalized communities experience, because that, why are you trying to write about their pain and suffering? So
Yeah.
and it goes back to like, if it's like, if you really think that these stories are important to tell, but you don't see books like that being published, well, then you should be demanding from publishing that's where you demand more diverse voices, because it's not like the writers aren't there writing them. It's just that publishing doesn't want to hear from them unless they're whitewashed. And you're not going to get a whitewashed version with the marginalized writer. Like, kind of in the book, some of the critiques that June was getting about the last draft was that it had the savior narrative, savior complex trope in it. And of course, if you're not part of that community, you're not going to be able to see the nuances like that. You're not going to be able to see, okay, portraying this group of people in this way makes them seem like a savior for the Chinese labor workers, especially when I think someone had brought up the whole, she added an interracial relationship in there. And so, again, unless it's part of your experience, you're not going to understand all the nuances of why, certain things might be an issue with certain communities. And so that's why I'm just like, why are you trying to tell this particular story?
And I think that's an important question to ask too, because if you are telling a story that's not yours to tell, you're kind of taking not a spot, but like you're taking that away from someone else, because you see how, the book publishers, and they're like, oh, this book, oh, sorry, we can't take on your book. We already have a book like that. Or like, we're pushing this and yours is too similar. So like then actual, Chinese Americans or people wanting to write about this, like, won't be able to, because their book is too similar to this, so
how many white authors do we have that write similar books as
exactly
how many white authors try to write the next Hunger Games or Divergent?
Yep.
And you never say, oh, this is too similar, we have too many, if we have a
YA dystopian.
Yeah, right. We have many YA dystopians about, this orphan kid by a white person. We can't take you on, so true. And that's why it was the marketing team, they were like talking about the cultural authenticity. Oh, book bloggers and book Twitter accounts can be pretty picky about things these days. Like when they said picky, I'm like, picky? And then she's like, I'm not Chinese, it's not own voices or whatever it's called. Is that a problem? They're like, no, of course not. We're just covering all our bases. And so it's like they're not calling her out. So it's like really Candace who was kind of like the seen as the villain in June's eyes. Like, she was the hero because she was like, sending those emails back and forth, fighting for just a sensitivity reader, just a Chinese diaspora sensitivity reader. She wasn't like saying anything, just so there's no risk of the cultural appropriation accusation. And then she gives it 1 star and she gets canceled, like literally.
Wow. That's why. So, kind of 2 things I was thinking with that. One, I had wrote down in my notebook. I was like, after she went back and forth in the email, and she kept resisting hiring a sensitivity reader, because she didn't want to slow down production or whatever. I was like, so whatever critiques, whatever accusations you get, that's on you. Don't complain when people are like, this has narrative written all over it, or this has this, or this has that, because you could have avoided that had you done a sensitivity read. People, I feel like people now, and it's not just publishing, it's all industries, I think, are more concerned about rushing to get a product out than actually doing a good quality job and getting something out that's of quality. So I think that's another issue. Because for me, I don't care how long it takes. Especially me, I have high expectations, and I'm kind of a perfectionist. So I'm like, it might be 10, 15 years, but it's not. I'm not sending it out unless I think it's, high enough quality. And so, that's why I was like, she really can't complain for whatever she gets. And then the other thing I was going to say with that was, so it wasn't very clear on whether Candace gave the one star review because she actually had problems or issues with the book, or just because they wouldn't listen to her about the sensitivity read, and then she was fired over it. So if that part wasn't clear, and to me, I'm like, if you're going to rate a book, however you rate it, high, low, whatever, I think it should actually be on the merits and the quality of the book, not how you feel a certain author is or how they've behaved or whatever, So if it was like she, the book was a good one, but she gave it a 1 star just because of the interactions, that I would think is wrong. But if there were legitimate problems with the book, and it sounds like there probably were, and that's why she gave it a 1 star, I feel like that's totally fine. And yes, it may come off unprofessional, but here's the thing I never liked about the publishing industry anyway, because now you're saying once your author, or anyone in the publishing industry, you have no opinion or no right to critique a book or another author's work. Like, it's unprofessional for you to be critiquing another writer's work. And it's like, we're still humans, we still have opinions, we still have thoughts, we still have preferences, we still have things that we like and don't like. And just because we're a writer or someone in the publishing industry shouldn't mean we have to not say how we feel or not give an opinion about a book we've read just to be more professional.
I love that, because that's
Yes.
something that like I struggle with. Like even before like I had a book, I was thinking, well, but even more so now, because I like have a list of people that I want to reach out to for like a book blurb, you know, some trad pub, some indie pub, and I'm like, well, if I rated them a 3 on Goodreads, would they see that and then not want to blurb my book? Like, would that? I mean, because I mean, and that's something I want to get into about, like, you know, would they even see that? But it's just like, you know, so now it's like, well, I can only rate things 4 or 5 stars, or I just started not rating things at all if they weren't a 4 or 5, because, or like I'd rate something and then not leave a review because it's like, I don't want this person to get mad at me if somehow we cross, you know, so it's like, that is so true. And I've been finding that more often, that I'm like, I have to be careful, man. Like, you know, we should be allowed to have our opinions. It's,
Yeah.
you know,
My thing is, because I did, like, after, you know, I've heard that same advice from other published authors that, especially indie authors, that don't rate other people's books unless it's, you know, going to be a high rating, 4 or 5 stars. Like, and if it's not, just don't rate it. And for a while, I was doing that, and then I'm just kind of like thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, why? Why should? Because here's the thing, for me. This is for me. I'm saying. Here's the thing for me is like, if I am rating your book a 1 or 2 stars, you're not going to be the person I reach out to review my book or blurb it or whatever anyway.
true, very true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm
That
ready
is
to
true.
go.
Well,
I'm not concerned about working with you.
I think my thing is, like, if I was gonna rate it 1 or 2 stars, I would have DNF'd it. Like, honestly,
Mhm.
so it's like there wouldn't be a rating up because the book would have been DNF'd. So,
I mean,
Well-
it's true, because I had read, someone had given me an arc, and I do recall, this was years ago, but I do recall rating it. I don't know. I think I still even rated it a 4 or something like that. And I said, no, I'm just like not huge into this like genre or just whatever. After I read it, I was like, you know, this just type of book is just not really for me, but I, you know, enjoyed it, and I had like good stuff to say. And then like they didn't like contact me after that for their other books, like cover reveals and all this stuff. And I'm like, I like was just trying to be honest. Like, you know, I'm not saying your book was bad. I'm just saying like this isn't like for me. And, you know, I did actually get really upset watching a popular booktuber's review of Yellowface, because I felt like she was really tearing it apart and not being kind about it. She is justified in her feelings about it, but I will say that I felt like a lot of her arguments were the author should have done this, this, and this. And I said, but that was not what Rebecca. That's not the story she wanted to tell. That she could have gone this route, but she went this route because that's what she wanted to do. That's authors choose what they want to write about, and that doesn't mean she won't write about other topics in the future. She might bring up those other issues. This is just like a springboard for other novels that, you know, Rebecca may write that will touch on those issues. So like, yeah, that was a little bit of a touchy subject for me, but it's like everyone, even we're always divided, not always divided, but sometimes we're divided even in the books that we choose for this discussion. And I think as long as someone does like a compliment sandwich, it's like, I don't think there's any book that you can't say anything bad. Like the cover is probably good, right? Like something,
Cool cover there. I really love that author bio.
Cover artist
so Hunter popped in. Preorder, Diamond Bright and Broken. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So with that particular booktuber's review, sometimes spicy things that are spicy and quote unquote controversial, like get the views. So I felt like she was being a little bit more harsh than was warranted. I was just really turned off, and it kind of, to me, felt like it discredited her whole review by saying at the end, like, oh, well, Rebecca, if you want to give me some money and I'll take this down or whatever, of the money you have, because she looked up and saw that like her, she had to spend like $23,000 a semester or year or whatever, like at this university, or for her, even just her like elementary education was however much money at this private school and stuff. So then she was going into this whole thing about how, well, she's, diverse, but then she's coming from a place of privilege because this is how much money her parents spent on her schooling. And it just really, I was just really just like upset by it, because I was like, why are you looking into how much this costs and seeing like that, like saying she's privileged because she went to this school, like you don't know her. And then to be like, oh, well, if you give me some money. So then she's making it seem like she's jealous because she was in this place where she was able to go to these prestigious schools that were clearly more expensive than that booktuber could afford. So that turned me off. And then also to assume that she was that so much of what Rebecca was writing in here was her writing her own experiences and being like, because Rebecca wrote that review, and Rebecca reads her reviews, and then literally, because on Diversity is Lit's Instagram, I follow every author that we read, and Rebecca had come out with this post. Though I find I can't stay off Goodreads myself, I don't read reviews of my own work. I have finally reached that improbable lucky place where I'm no longer very curious about what anyone is saying about me, so long as I get to keep writing. But I love to ramble on about novels I loved, and I love to see what my friends are loving. And when I'm struggling with negative feedback, I find it helpful to reflect on what sort of reviews compel me to pick up books. It's rarely about the Goodreads number, 3.2, 4.5, it doesn't matter. I don't choose books based on the aggregate rating as if they are skincare products. It's got at least a 4, so it must be good. I'm not looking for unanimous approval either. Sometimes I scroll past half a dozen critical reviews and decide to buy a book regardless because of a single sentence consisting of basically, ah. So that was my other thing too, was that she's like, oh, she talked about this booktuber, this. She was talking about me. Well, anyways, Rebecca. So I just kind of felt like the whole thing was just a jab at her that just really wasn't warranted. And so I just didn't appreciate it at all. And maybe if she had more of a compliment sandwich, but because it was just like this dig after seemingly unwarranted dig, in my opinion, I just didn't care for the review at all. So kind of like with you with like, oh, Yellowface, I was like, I didn't care for that review at all.
It was petty.
I know which review you're talking about, and I watched it like towards the beginning of the month before, like right before we were about to read Yellowface. I saw that review and thought it was interesting. But It's been a while, so I can't remember everything she said in her review. But the one thing I'll kind of say is, if you haven't watched her other videos or reviews before, that's kind of her approach or vibe, it seems like, with a lot of other books as well. So I don't think it was necessarily just Rebecca's book that she was doing this with. But
No, and not just, but she chose to write. She knows the type of reviews that she writes, and she chose to do that with Yellowface.
Right.
We know how many books come out every day, and she chose to do that about Yellowface. So,
it seemed kind of petty to me. Like some of the stuff that she was saying in that actual review was kind of petty to me.
It did.
Which goes back to the point of that the book is making. How a lot of reviews online on BookTube or Goodreads or Twitter or whatever, a lot of reviews can become very petty and very much some reviews, even if they may start off like talking about the book, it ends up devolving into being more about the author than the book. Which is something I'm like, if you're reviewing a book, review the book. Like, why are we talking about the author?
Yes. Well, and I saw a review. I forget which book it was, but it was recently where the person, like, I don't know what they rated it, like 2 stars maybe or something, but they're like, "Oh, I thought this was, a historical fiction, but it was urban fantasy. So 2 stars because I don't like urban fantasies." And I'm like, "Well, that was your fault. Like, it shows all of the categories, like right here. When you buy the book, you could see if you read the blurb, if you look at so that's always my thing is like a lot of, some of these reviews aren't justified because it's just, people just being like, "Wah."
It's not the author's fault that you. I was gonna say it's not the author's fault that you picked up the book and you didn't pay attention to what it was supposed to be about, and you thought it was one thing and it was something else. It's not the author's fault. That's your fault.
Yeah.
You should have did a little bit better on whatever book you were picking up.
Yeah.
So it's like every book you read, you don't have to throw a review up and a rating. I mean, you can say you read it and then not review it. That is an option. And I've done that for a lot of books where I'm like, I don't know what I could rate it. It doesn't matter. And then I just leave it blank. Because I'm just like, you know what?
Well, sometimes you can. Yeah. You don't have to leave a rating. Or sometimes you read a book and it might not be the book you're just over thrilled about, but you might find at least 1 or 2 things that you liked about it and just put that as the review. You don't have to because I'm like you, Holly, if it's going to be a 1 or 2 star for me, I'm not going to rate it. And if it's somebody that has sent me the book to review and I know I don't care for it, I'm going to reach out to that author and say, "Hey, look, your book really wasn't for me, and I'm not going to put up a low rating because I don't want to hurt you. I'm just letting you know I'm not going to put up a review for it." I just reach out to the author. You don't have to get on there and just blast them. Seems that I do a podcast.
I was scared. I was like,
right. It's like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I was like,
I've only had one bad experience. Well, like now I do my podcast where I do book discussions about the books I'm reading, but I do review people's books, and I had a author send me the book, and it just was not a good book. And I reached out to him, and then he kind of stalked me for like a couple of weeks. And was just sending me these really bad messages. And my husband finally got on and was like, "Look, dude, you're going a little bit too far." So that was the only time it really got really bad. And then I had another author where I did not like all of his books, and then he was like, "I'm gonna keep sending you my books until you finally like one of my books." And it was like the very, it was like his fifth book. He sent me his fifth book, and it was a really good book. He changed up everything, so he kind of took the pointers I was telling him on the reason why I didn't like his books.
Mhm.
And then his fifth book he sent me, and I was like, okay, you finally did it. You finally wrote a book that I actually like. He's like, I told you I was gonna get you to like one of my books. I'm like, you didn't have to go through
Oh my
all
God.
of that,
I
but
will say at least he was open to hearing your feedback and taking that into consideration when writing it. But at the same time, I'm like, there's so many different types of readers out there. Why
yeah,
do authors focus on the ones that don't like their books?
Yes.
There are gonna be readers that love your books.
Mhm.
There are trash books out there that readers absolutely love. And there's fandoms for them.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
So
yeah,
true.
yeah. A lot of them can't take the criticism though too.
Mhm.
yeah.
I let them get mad when you do say
Mhm.
it kind of like ignites something in them instead of taking that review and saying, okay, they're saying that this was wrong. Let me maybe go back and see if there's something I can do better for the next book. I mean, just like take the criticism. Don't like contact the person that wrote it, but just take it
Don't
and use
tag
it.
them.
Yeah, don't tag them. Just use it to make your writing a little bit better. That's when like I love it when people say, "Hey, look, you did this, this, and this wrong." Okay, now I know to focus and look at that when I'm trying to write the next book. I'm not going to go attack the person just because they said, "Hey, I didn't like this part of your book." I mean, that's just kind of childish and petty.
Mhm.
Can't please everybody.
That it's very childish. And I was just like, I don't know if you guys heard about it or knew about this, but I was just mind blown when I heard the news about this one author on Twitter that attacked a reviewer for leaving a 4-star review. I was like,
What?
a
Gosh.
4-star review gave you like said all these positive, but your ego is so high that you think
Wow.
5 stars. Like,
Wow.
Oh my God. 4 to be
I-
above like a 3.5
Wow.
would be a dream, you know?
I know. Wow.
I can be petty at times, and I am the type of petty that if I leave a 4-star and you come at me and say stuff and attack me because of a 4-star review, guess what? I'm going back and I'm downing it to 1.
You'd be like, oh, you didn't like that 4, huh?
You didn't like
Now
that
you
4,
like
so
this.
maybe you'll like this one better.
You like this one.
Oh, I'm sorry. 4 was. Oh, you did what? 4. Oh, okay. I'll change it.
And I will take you back. You're like, you didn't like that 4?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like this one? And
That's
I will
what.
Please, like, right.
I normally
Right.
would not. I would say don't ever tag authors in reviews, especially in negative reviews. But in that instance, if they're coming at you first, go for it.
Right.
Oh, yes. Yep. Because then they could be
Yes.
problematic
Yes.
towards other people too.
Mm-hmm. True.
Oh, what's this? Hunter says, I know an author named Julianne Bacleanto, and she was literally like, I need a 3-star review because she wanted people to be honest, which is relatable.
Yes.
Wow.
That's true.
I mean, I'm happy with the 3-star. I don't.
Yeah, like 3 is still good.
Yes. I think a 3 is still good.
Mm-hmm.
But some people don't like 3 stars.
3 to me is okay. There are things you liked and things that could be improved and get better.
Mm-hmm.
So why not?
Did you rate Yellowface?
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't read it yet because I just finished it before coming on here.
Okay.
But I am sitting right around that 3.
Okay, yeah. I was just curious. I was like, I know you're in the slump. It was a little not your cup of tea, but where does that land?
Right.
Okay. Well, I know we're a little bit over. Do we
Over.
have any last thoughts? Let me see what this is. I just hope someone likes my books when I start publishing, but maybe that's just how I feel because I'm not yet published. For me, okay, so for me, I'm not going to read my Goodreads reviews. I'm going to have an alternate party, aka Heather, pick out the good ones so that I can post it as promo. But then just kind of look and see hey, any sort of constructive feedback that is consistent. Yes. But for me, I'm I think everyone has their opinions and not everyone has to like your book, but I can feel but my close, my family, my friends, it's I would really want you to like my book, because that would make it awkward if it's oh, I didn't like it, it's totally fine if you guys don't like it, but I feel that would hit a little different than some random person that's DNFing it. I'd be yeah, cool, whatever, because I got my crew of super fans or whatever. But I do feel if it's at least some of my close friends, please like my book. It's probably because I usually rate all my books 5 stars. I usually know what I like. I only have 3 4-star ratings, and I've read quite a few books. Yes, yeah. I'm usually a high rater too. I'm oh yeah, I really like that. I think I'm good at picking out books I like too.
I will say, for any writer who publishes, there's always someone that will enjoy your book and will love it. There's always someone that will be your biggest fan. So even books that don't get good ratings or are not popular or whatever, they still find their readers that absolutely love and adore the book and will give it 5 stars. Stephen King has his fans. I'm not one of them, but he has them.
I'm just pulling up our Legendborn review for Hunter because that was our book club pick for what was it? Oh, that was for December 2020. Oh my gosh. So
yeah.
We had a really good discussion if you want to check it out. Let's see. Up here. Oh yes. Yes. And did you read Bloodmarked? I enjoyed Bloodmarked.
I recommended it.
Book boyfriends, yes.
It's so good.
And girlfriends. Sorry.
Yeah, I still have to read that one. I haven't read it yet.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. I felt like it was a strong sequel.
Hi.
Yes, you definitely should. That King Arthur retelling, and yeah, I was here for it. Cool.
I'm bad at picking up sequels.
Cool.
So, I think, I added, I always had Rebecca's books on my radar.
Do you have a
Babel
paperback?
Yes.
Oh. How'd you get
I don't know, it was on Amazon.
Oh.
I was like,
oh, when did they? I got a hardcover off of Amazon.
Oh. Did they just come out with the paperback?
Did they just come out with the paperback?
I don't know. I bought it 2 weeks ago.
Huh. Is it?
It's pretty fast for a paperback. Wait, what? Wait.
Yeah, that's what, because...
Wait, hold on a sec. Oh, yeah, there's a paperback that exists. Okay.
Is it?
It's on there. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I bought
But
mine
it
like the
says
first week of the month, so maybe the
well, the
paperback
hardcover
wasn't
says
out just yet.
$17. So our hardcover says $17. Paperback says $30. I went to like the used and it was like
Oh, that's why I got the hardcover, because it was like the paperback said 30 something and the hardcover said 17.
Oh,
So I went and
Yeah.
ordered the 17.
oh my gosh, yeah, they're all like $36 or something. $36. I did
Wow.
not spend that much on that at all. No.
No. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, wait. I
strange.
can see how much I can
Yeah,
see
that's
how much I
strange.
spent on it. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, I don't know.
It was a
It's
Reese's
number
Book
one.
Club pick.
In satirical literature and fiction.
Yeah.
Number 2 in Asian American literature. Number 3 in Asian American literature and fiction.
Wait.
Wow.
No, you know
What?
what? I bought it off of eBay.
Oh.
That was it. I was like, oh my gosh, this price is so much. So I went to eBay and bought it for $11.61. Yeah.
Wow.
So anyways, I do still want to check out her other books. If you're interested in our not November. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
September.
I wanted to be November. Sorry. It was because Hunter said November. If you're interested in our September book of the month pick, we will be reading House of Miriam by J.L.
Yay.
We read Rings of Ebony before. The hardcover is beautiful with beautiful
It is.
inside and the
Did you get the inside too?
the side with the dust jacket. Yes.
That's so pretty.
It's
Ooh.
gorgeous.
Yeah. It's
So,
gorgeous.
Yes.
It is gorgeous.
I love when they do designs on the actual hard.
Me too. I was like, you know
Yeah.
what? This is a thing I could live for. So
It's gorgeous.
yeah.
You
So
could do,
join us for that.
a cracked diamond on your on the hard cover for yours.
Or maybe it could be like the dust jacket is the cracked, but then on the inside it's not broken.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That'll have to be an Al Crate special edition.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's what's gonna happen. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, anyways. Yes, this is YA. Yes. And going to reread it in February. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming to the book club discussion. We will see you next month. And don't forget, there's the Goodreads group and the Discord group so that you can chat about books. You can recommend books for our book poll, which is always in the middle of the month. Hi, Al. We're just hopping off, but good to see you here. Thanks for coming, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.